one just now.
Hit it.
We are there.
Good Monday morning, everyone. I am currently in my car on my way to go camping, but I love my author talks and I didn't want to miss it. So you guys know me, Amy, here with Sandy Russell, and our guest today is Red. So say hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
And we have some extra guests. We have Thor and Cleopatra.
Hercules, but close enough.
And we have Josh.
Hi, Josh. So that's Amy and Josh and family on their way for a camping trip. This is the summer, and Josh is out of school for that.
Yes,
are you going to
you
summer
should
school?
always go camping in the summer in South Texas.
Definitely
right?
not. Did you say, Josh?
Yes, he's not going. Not this summer.
Oh my gosh! What will you do all summer?
He's gonna hang with
I will
me.
do absolutely nothing, and I will love every minute of it.
Well, yay!
I think your father thinks you're wasting time. Am I right or am I right?
I don't know.
You're right.
I bet
knew I
he's
was
not
right.
going to tell his father.
Oh, his father will know. His father will know. His mother will tell him.
You're probably watching, so yes. Yeah.
Okay, so Red, welcome to AuthorTalk.
Howdy.
This is Red O'Laughlin, and he's written how many books total, Red?
I have 4 that I've written myself and one I co-wrote with another group of people.
Okay, so we're going to find out about it, and now...
You know, I don't know how anyone could co-write a book with anyone. I certainly couldn't. You have to get along to do stuff like that.
You're not a team player.
necessarily.
I'm not a team player.
No, you're not. That's okay. I'm not either. It's okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to talk about the New York Times this morning.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you
New
want
York
to talk about the
Times
New York
yesterday. If you're watching this and you're in writing or publishing, you want to pull up online yesterday's New York Times. Sandy and Amy have already seen this because I sent it to them yesterday. On the bottom fold of the front page is an article about what's happening now in publishing. And that is writers are skipping. Now, you know, first it was hard copies. Then it was, that was traditional. Then the first revolution was e-copies, right? And everyone
Well,
buying
first we
e-books.
also had the paperbacks, too. Remember when we used to have a hardcover and then a paperback?
We're not talking about 50 years ago. I'm talking about, you know, in the lifespan of Amy. Okay, Rad. I didn't throw you in that insult. I only threw Sandy in it.
Yes, I know. I recognize that. I was
Okay.
with that remark.
But so we have the
So
e-book.
hieroglyphics on clay tablets are not part of this discussion.
No. So now the new revolution is writers going and writing specifically for and going straight to Audible books and not even going to ebooks. And just the last few months, it's exploded, and now the publishers, the big boys, are in a panic because of it, and now they're opening up new Audible books access centers because they have to deal with Amazon now, and Amazon's out there buying access to first editions, first publications. It's a big deal.
Wow.
Can you tell why?
Because it's the cutting edge of what is pushing and pulling the writing community. That's what people are buying now. And that's what they're buying in mass now. And in fact, I got to say, you know, my wife reads more than 120 books a year. She consumes, I guess, is the best thing. And I'd say half of them are Audible books.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joshua listens to audiobooks to and from school, and he's probably went through how many, 4 or 5?
Oh, I'm on like 10 or 12.
Oh,
if it's
I'm
not an
sorry.
audiobook, I won't
I'm
read
sorry,
it.
10 or 12. I was off.
There you go, because he's a modern guy and he has a long drive.
And
I
I
just
know
recommended A War Like No Other the other day to to somebody, and I even told him it's a perfect Audible book. You should get it because he lives in Kingwood. He works downtown. I said, you should, he's a lawyer, so he has to go to the courthouse. I said, you should get it. You can listen to it every day on the way in and on the way out instead of crappy radio.
It's a perfect thing to do in your car. And another place, so I have a son in Austin who works out religiously, and he listens to books while he's working out.
Does he listen to books or podcasts?
Books. Because he was telling, he has listened to podcasts before, but he was telling me some of the books because he just finished a new book by Tim Ferriss, who's the author of the 4-Hour Work Week. And so he likes to listen to those kind of books, motivational books.
One of my sons does too. I mean, they're great.
Mm-hmm. Is the Audible book thing one of those deals because you're driving and it's one of those things you can do? Or
you don't have to think. Or here's a perfect example of one of the times that I love my Audible book. If I'm sitting out by the pool watching everything beautiful, this would be like Amy tonight. She gets to the lake. She's camping, right? Yeah. She could put in her headphones and listen to her Audible book so she wouldn't have to listen to Josh. She's enjoying the night. Yeah. I mean, it's just, there's a million different reasons. I prefer Audible books when I'm traveling.
Yeah, we do too when we travel.
On airplanes.
Get a bunch of CDs there from the library.
But well, that's like 200 years ago, CDs.
I know. And this question now goes to Amy, is now that I have a car that doesn't have a CD player, how do I get an audio book to work on my car?
Your phone.
You Bluetooth it.
I have a phone, but how do I get it to work on the car?
You Bluetooth it.
Yeah.
Okay. I have the Bluetooth that automatically connects to the phone. How do I get the audio book to the speaker?
You download Audible. Audible is the app, so that way it will sync up because then it's a Bluetooth. Because that's what we're doing onto our camping trip. There's a book that I wanted to read, and I have the actual book, but it's hard for me to sit down and read a book, so I just downloaded the Audible version of it, and I'm listening to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, when we travel, we always listen to a book in the car.
Okay, but
is that what you guys are doing?
What was the question again, Red?
How do you do it for free? Audible costs you on a monthly basis.
I can solve that. The Houston Public Library and the Harris County Public Library, you can go online. You don't have to go down there. Get a library card. Then you can check out brand new books, whatever you want to read. Sometimes you have to wait in line for if they're really hot. And it will download to your phone for 15 days. You have 15 days to read it. It's great.
Now, is that
what's the price of admission today then?
Yeah, it's free. It's free. It's awesome.
That's the part I like.
And Russell, so that's the ebook or the Audible book?
That's an Audible book. Or you can get it in ebook too. Now,
from the library. So the library has Audible books.
Okay, here's the thing that I want to talk about though, because we're talking to authors and publishers and people that are interested in it, is how do you get your book on Audible? And my answer is I tried and I haven't done it yet, because we went at it and it's something you need help to do. You need someone who's done it before to kind of walk you through it, I think.
Yeah.
How do you get the pictures on Audible?
Ha 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 ha. What has this Red been about at your writer's course? He's gone from serious to smart ass. I like this guy.
You know, human beings have only been proficient in writing for the last 500,000 years, but like,
is it like 500,000 years or is it 500,000 years?
5,000 years.
No, it's 500 to 1,000 years.
Yeah, no, we've had written language. Written language has existed for a long time, but it hasn't been generally well studied and well understood until, it's more recent. But verbal language is kind of evolutionary in your blood. Like, people learn better verbally than reading most of the time. They can hear things better. So So
I would say, Josh, that is generally true, except in China, where they had a large literacy community about 1800 BC. But
I'll admit, Asians are a little bit better at things like that. I said
the Chinese. Their culture had grown in literacy by about 1800 BC. It was awesome.
Josh, where have you been on our author talks all this time?
He's not allowed. He's not.
Next thing we know,
spoken language has gone way back more than written language has. That's for sure.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you for the history lesson, Josh.
Did Cleopatra lay back down? Where did she go?
I'm right there.
There she is.
Right
okay, but her name is Hercules.
Okay, Cleopatra's fine too.
Okay.
If it was a male cat, it would be Himcules.
Himcules. That's cool.
So, what's this new course that you have starting up, Sandy?
Thank you for asking, Russell. So we're getting started tonight, and it's summer. So I don't know what you did, but I'm going to continue.
That was a segue.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think we finished up the Audible books yet.
We did finish. We're moving on.
We're running out of time.
I thought you had all the time in the world.
Okay.
That's what Sandy thinks. But Amy and I start having to text her at about 25 minutes. You got 5 minutes left. You got 5 minutes left.
We started countdown after that.
I'm telling you, they take such good care of me.
We do. We love you. It's love.
So tonight, we start the new course from Perceptive Public Relations called
Audible.
No, not Audible books.
No, you're going to have to include it. I mean, how do we get our books on Audible? It's really hard.
We will definitely have that discussion. And Russell, you'll be getting an email from me in a few minutes with your link for tonight. So I would love for you to bring up that topic. You're not getting out of the course, Russell. So don't even.
I didn't say that. I just doubt I get an email in a few minutes.
Oh, well, and
she got up late to our community. She got up late. I got the email to put for this about 5 minutes ago.
I got it last night. Didn't you send it last night?
Yeah, I got it last night, 9:30.
Okay, you two aren't helping the joke.
I'm sorry. I take it back.
And actually, here's what I did last night. I want you to know, Russell. I sent yours separately with with a do not send until 7:30 tomorrow morning message.
Oh, because you know I wouldn't pay attention to it.
Because I know you told me not to email you after 8:00 at night.
Right.
So, therefore, you didn't get it at all. So I probably screwed that whole thing up.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway, so tonight we start a course called Back to Basics. So for the past year, we've been teaching different courses on social media, publicity, Be Known, 21 Secrets. We've had all these courses over the past year. Now tonight we're going to go back to basics. So one of the things I've been reading to prepare and study for this course is Marketing for Dummies, Marketing 101. I mean, honestly, it's good for me to do that as well, because that helps me to go back to there for my clients, for me, my business, to go back and say, okay, where are we in this whole marketing world, and where do we need to be, and how do we get there? So we're going to start that tonight, but the focus will be on public relations. So we're going to talk about how to get in magazines, how to get in the newspaper, how to get on television, how to prepare for an interview, how to read an editorial calendar. All of those are the things we're going to focus on for the next 4 weeks. So if you have not signed up, Amy, can you put the link in while you're driving?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, she's already doing 2 or 3 things.
So if you would put the link in, then if you haven't signed up and you want to check it out, I'm ignoring Russell. trying to ignore Russell. Then we do have some openings in the course. I talked to several people yesterday who will be in, so we have a very good group. Smaller than it has been, but that's fine. We're going to take individual. Like for Russell, which magazine do you need to be in?
Of course, my trouble was you couldn't get me to cooperate to get in any magazine last time.
Well, you could stop.
I was wrong. You were right. By the way.
You could stop with, I couldn't get you to cooperate.
Right.
That's it. That was a
You
statement.
were right. I was wrong.
That's okay. You got another book coming out. We're gonna read it.
Yeah, it's happening.
It is. It is. And I know lots more stuff now than I did when you and I did that one, because I've had more practice with Sue's book. So we're in the process right now of getting Sue's book on England Sparks, and I'm going to talk to you about that, Red, when we get to Red stuff. So
before we get to Red, do we have any watchers yet?
Yes, my friend Angel. Hi, Angel. Thank you for joining us. Vola's watching. James is watching. One of these days when James has some time, he's very busy. We need to have him on because he has just become my right-hand person other than Amy as far as book covers and book formatting. So I was working on one for Kathy Howeisen this weekend, and he stepped right in and did the cover for me and formatted the book. And it was going to be for the opt-in on her website. So sent that all to her yesterday. But James, thank you. Thank you for all the help. He just finished Sue's book cover for book 3. So we're really excited about that. And he's really, really great to work with. So love James. And his wife, Ella. She is an editor. So we found a gold mine when we found James and his family. Okay, so are we ready? Do we want to save the social media or do that before Red?
We better get to Red first, don't you think?
Red first. That sounds like a word. Red first. Hi, Red.
Howdy.
So I've known Red for quite a few years. I met him when I was doing massive networking. He was too. I heard him speak. He used to come to the Monday morning marketing bistro. So lots of ways I interacted with Red over the years. But this is the first time you've actually taken courses or anything with me, right, Red?
Correct.
So, first I want you to tell us your story. Like, how did you write? What had you write your first book?
I was in the process of transitioning into retirement. I walked into work one day and got an offer I couldn't refuse to leave and early retire. It wasn't something I planned on. And it took me a day or two to decide that I didn't want to go to work for another company. And as a result, I started transitioning into something else. What could I do in retirement? I've been a public speaker for a long time. At that point in time in my life, I was reading probably a book a week on the average, all on self-improvement, personal growth. And my first 2 books dealt with how to improve yourself. And I was also going around the country with my mentor, and I would speak at his events and sell my books in the back of the room. So my first book was No Matter What, You Can Do It. And that dealt with the book that Dr. Maxwell Maltz wrote back in 1960. And it essentially is, how does your subconscious mind work? And it tells you basically, he was a cosmetic surgeon, and he found out that even though the surgery was absolutely perfect, some people could not see the perfection that happened as a result of the surgery. So he started really investigating the subconscious mind. And as such, I learned a lot about how we actually think and how we accomplish things. And so I started speaking about it, and okay, fine, I'm going to write a book about it. And I did. And then the next book was kind of a follow-on. I can't think of the name of the author, but Failure is Not an Option was written by the head guy at NASA, and it dealt with our space program. And I started reading about, from a personal growth perspective, how do we fail and how do we prevent failure? And so I wrote that one. And then following on from
What was the name of that one?
Failure is Not an Option. And I don't have that one anymore. I went through 48-hour books.com. I got the thing done, ordered a bunch of books. I can't find a single copy. I can't find my electronic file. So I need to go back on some of my old archives and try to figure out what happened to it. So I don't have that one right now. Then I decided that self-improvement's great, but I really have a passion in the area of health and wellness. And I wrote my weight loss book because that was an area that I had an interest in. And so that one should be available to pull up.
What's the name of it?
I wish I could tell you.
Is it heart, longevity, or results?
No.
Huh?
The other one. It's not the heart. It's not the longevity. It's the other. Has a picture on the front of people shrinking in size. That's
there
it.
It is.
Yeah, results matter when you want to lose weight and keep it off. And so I
did that when I was 50 years old. I lost 50 pounds.
And so I tell you what the chemical reactions are in the body as to how do you actually lose weight, what happens in the various situations. And that was my first venture into the health and wellness arena. Then after that one, I went into longevity, and that's probably the field that I enjoy more than anything else. Is Longevity Secrets of Healthy Aging is the one that I wrote probably about 3 years ago. And I'm branching that one off. That book will now become 3 separate niche books. I'm going to have one on healthy retirement living, one on the healthy heart, one on healthy brain. Because when I wrote this book, the longevity portion of it was a fairly short book. This book is almost 400 pages. And actually, I wrote that book in about 30 days, 60,000 words. And it took me 7 months to edit. And that was the thing.
Only 7?
Only 7. Yeah. Surprised me it took that long.
Editing takes longer for me. It takes longer for me to edit and rewrite a book than it does for me to write a book. Like it's awful. Sue writes a book in like 3 days.
Yeah. So anyway, I had to add more stuff to it. So I added the part about the heart health and part about brain health. And I said, okay, fine. Now those two are going to be separate books. But anyway, I wrote those. And
is this a marketing purpose that you're doing that?
It's an area that I have a passion in.
But are you breaking it up for marketing purposes?
Yes, I'm breaking it up because there's going to be smaller books, easier to understand. But I also want to add sponsorships in the back of the book. I want to take in the demographic that I'm looking at, retirees. I want to be able to have a section in the back of the book, 2 pages each, for people to sponsor that particular book.
So what's your, Red, how are you promoting these books on social media? Or at all?
Period, not just social media. Yeah, what are you doing to market the books?
I am going to class with Sandy.
So what have you decided?
Right answer. That's a right answer.
He's so smart. But Red, okay. From what classes, because I've been in quite a few of those classes with you, from what you've heard from Amy and Sandy so far, what's your plans? What are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to gain some wisdom from these people who've already written books and gone out and got the best seller status. And so that's what I'm trying to get right now. I didn't know how you go about getting bestseller status.
And so I know that one of the people you follow closely is Brene Brown, and we both love Brene Brown. And one of the ways that she skyrocketed was speaking. Mm-hmm. And I know that has been something that you want to get more into, Red, is speaking. And I can tell you the most profitable way to sell a book is to stand in front of the room and speak and sell to the people there. Because you are the author, you make all the money. You don't have to split it with Amazon, with bookstores, with anybody. You get the money.
Of course, I have a problem with that because of the mathematics of it, right?
You don't have enough time to speak?
Yes, my point is that this huge universe that our books are, the possibility of our books to be in, and speaking's just a little bit segment of it. And this is something that Sandy and I always argued about. My interest was getting to the...
That was one of the things we always argued about.
I know, right? And I was wondering...
What was the other?
Oh, yeah, I know,
we don't
right?
have time.
I think I'm going to go sit in the back seat with Thor. Where is Thor? That's the prettiest. That's the prettiest. There he is. Hey, Thor. So Have you have an exact audience? The great thing you have that Amy and Sandy talk about all the time is know your audience. You know who your audience is. It's great, right? So the question is, you're thinking, how do I reach them? And I can think of all sorts of ways that you could advertise on Amazon eBooks, and you could actually tell Amazon, I want to advertise to people buying books that are over 50 years old.
Okay.
And for just like a couple of pennies every time. And the only time you'd have to pay a couple of pennies is when people clicked on it. I would think it would be you would have a great ability to promote his book. Don't you think, Sandy?
I think it would be great. And I think, so let me say, speaking is what I said was where you make the most profit, right? However, you don't want to limit yourself to just, you're right, that's a tiny little speck in the whole world of people.
And Audible is even smaller than that one.
You're not going to start out by speaking to thousands of people. You start out by speaking to tens of people, and then you move on up. For Brene Brown, who's the example I used, she did a TED Talk. And then she skyrocketed. Now she's everywhere. She's, got millions of followers and all this. But she paid her dues by speaking, and she's a professor at U of H. So that's what Red has been doing, is paying his dues. And so speaking is one way to sell books, but so is advertising on Amazon. That's a great way to sell books. So is just promoting your Amazon author page, all of that. So
that's one thing I have not done yet. It's on my list of things to do, but I have actually not paid for an advertisement. But it's.
Do you have a Facebook author page or book page? I do not
have anything but a personal page on Facebook.
It's time to kick it up today before you even go to basics.
Hello, it's an Amazon author page, not Facebook.
He just said he doesn't have either.
Whatever. I don't know what I have on Amazon with regard to an author page.
I'll check for you before we have a class tonight, and I'll let you know. Because you do want to have one. People can follow you and all kind of things. So there's a lot of things you can do to market yourself on Amazon. Amy, what did you say, babe?
I said they're super important on marketing yourself and then cross promoting your content. So it helps build credibility if you have an Amazon author page and a Facebook page. That's an author one, because then you can cross promote.
Okay. What about a Barnes & Noble author page?
I don't know if Barnes & Noble offers that or not. I just know Amazon does. But if they offer it, yes, I would do it.
Red, do you have an Instagram page?
I do. That I do have, but I have not been doing any marketing on my Instagram page.
Amy had a long lecture the last couple of weeks about Instagram and having a business page separate than a personal page, haven't you, Amy?
Okay, this is a Instagram page?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have that one either.
You can convert your current page. That's what I've done. So I had a personal account, and then I started Abundantly Social, so then I created a business account. So my photos are still there from when it was a personal account, and then all of my content for my business page. So the only real difference besides, it's listed as a business Instagram page is the fact that when you promote, you can run ads either on Facebook and on Instagram at the same time, or you can just run one on Instagram. But Instagram right now is really big for businesses and for authors, so that's why it's super important that you have an author business account on Instagram.
Again, that's worth the price of admission today.
So, Red, do you have a Twitter account?
Actually, I have one from a long time ago, but Twitter's not something that I have actually done anything with.
So that means no.
I have one, yes. Do I use it? No.
I can't find you. That's why I asked.
Well, it's under Prosperity Professor is what it's under.
Well, then no wonder.
See, I told you no.
That's why when I used to speak on on self-improvement and things, I went under the moniker Prosperity Professor.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I've really been focusing on Sue's Twitter for the last few weeks. Well, 2 weeks really, and that's all. And when I first looked at her Twitter account, and she had like 40 people following her, and so I'm like, okay, we need to get Sue boosted up some. And so I've just been going in every couple of days and following people. And this morning, she is at, so Sue, I hope you're paying attention, 314. And I know for Russell, that's not a big number because he's in the 10,000.
13,000.
13,000. Wow.
US or metric?
What did you say?
13,000 US or metric numbers?
I don't think there's 13. I don't think there are 13,000 real.
Oh, you have a lot of bots.
No.
I don't know what he thinks. Why?
Sorry.
That's okay. Why do you think they're not real?
Because there's so many. Just Twitter's full of what is that? Almost remote control. Sign up, follow, unfollow, advertise, where there's no human behind it.
Well,
Don't you think so, Amy?
So people use a lot of tools to boost their numbers, which is one thing I have never done, and I don't encourage anyone to do that because marketing is building relationships, and you're not going to build relationships just because of the numbers.
Speaking of that, Sandy's social question to you, Amy, was why, when she tries to advertise on Facebook, is all her friends blocking her?
Okay,
Isn't that it?
Well, it wasn't advertised. It was invite them to an event. So
yeah, created an event within a group, and the group is closed. So if your group is not a public group that anyone can join, if you have admins that the criteria that you have to go to, and you have admins to add you into the group, then yeah, you can't invite your personal friends because they're not part of the group. Now you can change the settings on the group, but you kind of have to understand if most people, if they start a group like that and it's closed, it's because it has some kind of guidelines to go by. So if you're going to change the guidelines and things like that, then you can make it public. If not, you're just going to have to invite people in the group or invite your friends to join the group and let them in, and then they can go to the event.
Or you could create two events at the same place at the same time, right?
Well, what I'm wondering is,
Or she could go ahead and invite each individual person.
It won't let me do that.
Yeah, no, she can't do that because it's a closed group.
She could go onto regular Facebook and invite them that way.
Well, I could go to my Facebook page and copy the link to that, but I don't even know for sure if that would work. I'm going to practice that today. So what I am marketing and getting visibility for is an event with the Nonfiction Authors Association. Red, I know you talked about coming to that. You never have been to one of the meetings, though, have you?
No, I signed up for the group, but I have never been to one of the meetings.
So we had a great leader with Kate Frank, and now we have a new chapter organizer. The thing about that I just said earlier, marketing is building relationships. Okay, the person that started the Nonfiction Authors Association is Stephanie Chandler. Stephanie is very big in the whole publishing, online marketing world. So my goal was to have a relationship with Stephanie Chandler. So I joined the group, and then they asked me, then I told them I'd help promote it, and now they've asked me to be the co-organizer for Houston. So I'm moving that much closer, and in the process, building relationships with a lot of nonfiction authors, and that's great. So would love to invite you. We now meet at the Houston Business Lounge, which opened in a new location over off 290. And so would love to have anybody there. It's great, beautiful building. And the address will be on the event, and I will share that on my Facebook page today if I can. If not, I'm going to create another group because that didn't take that long. So that's my thing for that.
Do you recall what day and time it is?
It is always the third Thursday of the month.
Okay.
From 6:30 or 7. I think networking is 6:30 to 7, and then the meeting is 7 to 8.
Okay.
And the person speaking this month is Roger Leslie. So Roger, we know from he was in some of our courses, and now he decided that he doesn't have time right now for that. He's focusing his time on building his publishing company and his next book. I know Roger's great. Now, Red, we didn't talk to you about your publishing company, so we've got just a couple more minutes. But so you, after you published all these books, now you've decided to help other people publish their books. Is that right?
Yes. When it took me 7 months to edit the book, I decided that something had to be wrong. One of the things I did back in an earlier life was analyze and try to figure out what causes things to happen. And so I looked at how do you actually get to where you need to go to, and what can be short-circuited, what can be eliminated. And I came up with a process by which that if you have let's say that you and I, Sandy, are having a conversation, and the conversation deals with exactly what you want in your book. Let's say you're a motivational speaker, but you could be just a business. You could be a lot of different things. But if you structure the interview in such a way that a question is broached and you answer the question, there's almost no editing done to that particular chapter or subchapter, whatever it is. So if you can organize a series of questions in such a manner that you're just having a conversation with somebody, the editing goes from months down to maybe days, or in some cases even hours, because the editing literally goes away. So if you can eliminate the editing and it becomes a free-flowing conversation, everything becomes very, very simple. Now, it doesn't work with novels. It won't work with certain types of books. But for
it takes me like 32 rewrites.
But again, that's not the kind of, you're not having an interview when you're writing your book with your characters.
Right.
But for some kinds of professions, if you own a business, let's say you develop SEO, you develop web pages, whatever, you have a dog walking. So there's a lot of things you can do if you structure the questions in such a way to have an interview. Legacy kind of books are a perfect way of doing that. So if you end up being able to talk the book through, then you use the voice to text editing operation on a lot of different apps. And then that converts your voice to text. It's already edited. Then you just go in there and tweak it and you're done. And putting the thing on Amazon or Kindle or anything else is fairly simple. So what I do is I help people structure those questions and make a decision on the front end. Is this one book? Is it 3 books? Where is this thing at in your life?
So what is the name of your publishing company?
MRO Global.
So MROglobal.com is the website?
No, I publish all the stuff under redolaughlin.com, but the name of my LLC is MRO Global.
Okay. So your website is
redolaughlin.com.
Okay, got it. So so if you want to find out more about Red, that's one of the things I was going to ask, how to find out more about you. And now we know, go to your website, redolaughlin.com. And Vola says, I love Red. So she also says she enjoys AuthorTalk every Monday, and it's a lot of fun and very informative. So thank you, Vola. Thanks for always being here and listening. Haven't heard from Sue today, so I'm not sure where Sue is. We'll check in with her later. So let's start wrapping things up. Any final word from you, Russell?
I like it when Thor guests on our show.
Okay. Amy.
Josh is okay, but Thor rocks.
Okay. Amy. Yeah. Josh, any final words for us while you're going camping?
No, he doesn't get any. No, Red, thank you so much for coming on. I enjoy talking to you and hearing what you have to say, and thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I was going to mention, take 30 seconds. The other book that I co-wrote with a bunch of other people, 2 of the people were Jim Rohn, and Mark Victor Hansen. And I have not published that one. I mean, I haven't sent that out or put it anywhere. But I figure at some point in time, having those 2 authors and being a co-author with them.
Yeah, that might be something you might want to think about getting some publicity for.
Yes, so anyway, that's the other book that I have. That's the Heart book way back when.
Okay, great. Thank you, Red. I thought we got through all your books, and I'm sorry. So do you have plans for future books?
I have about 20 in the works right now.
Wow. Okay. So I predict we're going to see lots of good stuff from Red in the next few years. So thank you, Red. And Red, you need to check into how to do a TED Talk, because that is what Brene Brown did that got her the visibility. So
and that's one of the things I really want to do.
Okay, good. So let's figure it out how to be on a TED Talk. And there are ways to do it. And there's local TED Talks, and then there's the big TED Talk. So there's TEDx, I think it's a smaller one. So
and I'll even do the Red and Red X talks also.
okay. Red and TED. Yay. Okay, so have a great week. Thank you everyone for being on here this morning. And
for inviting me.
Thank you, Red, for being here. So